and everybody that was in the world heard the rooster. That the sound of the rooster was heard by everybody in the world. When did that happen? So the rabbi says, oh, I know the answer to that. You guys know the answer also, don't you? When did the rooster crow and everybody in the world heard it?
In the morning.
He says, no, in Noach's ark. Because the rooster was in Noach's ark, and everybody in the world was in Noach's ark. Everybody else was there. So when the rooster crowed in Noach's ark, everybody in the world heard it. He said, that's very good. You're right. You're right. I got another question for you. Tell me an area on the earth, a piece of land on the earth, that only saw the rays of the sun one time in the entire history of the universe. That means the sun's rays hit this piece of ground only once. He says, well, I know the answer to that. He says, when? When Moshe split the Yam Suf. The ground underneath, the sun's rays hit it. And then the water came back afterwards and never saw it again. He says, you're right. He says, the third question is, what am I thinking now? He says, I know exactly what you're thinking. You're thinking I'm the smartest priest you ever met. But I'm sorry, I'm a Jew. Sorry, I'm Jewish. That's what he said. What are you thinking now? That you think I'm the smartest priest you ever met. Okay. Parshas Vayikra. And then I'll tell you about my trip to Israel. You want to hear about my trip to Israel at some point.
Yeah.
How was it, Rabbi?
You should have been there.
If
You should have been there.
Ticket, I would have gone.
Ah, now you sound like my wife. Now you sound like my wife. Let me take a moment. Before I get into Vayikra, let me tell you a little. I'll tell you a few things about Vayikra soon. Let me tell you about my trip to Israel. I left on Monday night. That's why I couldn't be here last Monday night. And the reason I left is that there's a fellow who will not give his wife a get. And when I went to Israel in January, I spoke to the attorney and I spoke to the Bet Din that if this fellow comes, they should, take away his passport, put him on the no-fly list, because he won't give his wife a get. And he went. He went to Israel in February, and they took away his passport. They served him papers. But he went to the lower court in the Bet Din, and he argued that they had no right to do that because he's not an Israeli citizen, and they agreed with him, and they were about to release him, but it was subject to an appeal to the Bet Din Hagadol. And he also went, he hired an attorney, it cost him at least $20,000, and he hired an attorney to go to the Supreme Court of Israel. Now, the Supreme Court of Israel has many divisions. This division is called the Begatz. The Supreme Court is called the Beit Din Elyon, La Mishpat. And the Begatz is Beit Din HaGodol, La Mishpat V'Tzedek, the Mishpat V'Tzedek. And the Begatz sits in judgment over all Israeli institutions who people say have violated the law. So they judge the judges. They judge the institutions. The Bet Din, the Rabbanut, did not want to lose this case. There were too many other cases going on that were at risk if they would lose this case. They didn't want to lose this case. It would have set a very bad precedent. And my other cases that went to the Bet Din HaGadol and to the, it's not my first time that my cases went to the Supreme Court, I won those cases. So they made it clear that I was coming to Israel. They made it very clear I didn't have a choice. What they didn't realize was that when I flew on Monday night, I took the wife with me. Not my wife, the wife of this guy. Now, she's a 34-year-old girl, lives not in New York. I never met her before. And that was amazed. I mean, they were amazed that I had been working months to help this woman get a get. And I'm going to get a get, and I never met her. She was referred to me by different rabbis and different organizations. There was no need. I don't charge for my services, so why should she have to come see me? I mean, I met her family, I met her brother, I met her uncle. I mean, I had feedback, I had background information, but I don't require anybody to come see me. I don't demand that kavod, if that's what it's called. So the first time I met her was Monday night. First time I ever met her. and we flew out on an El Al flight. Now, the trouble began right when we got to the airport. Get to El Al security. First of all, the seats were horrible because I couldn't get my regular. I usually get an aisle seat. I'm a little bit tall. I had to be in the middle. Okay. Get to El Al security. So the first thing the person says to me is, "Do you know when you bought your ticket?" So I said, "Yes, yesterday." Now, when you buy a ticket the day before you're flying to Israel, what does that send up?
Something wrong.
Something's wrong, right? A red flag. So I says, "Well, you know, I have a court case that I have to go for." So he says, "Well, we have to call over a supervisor to interview you. And we're going to have to separate the two of you, and we're going to question you separately." Got it. So the supervisor comes over to me and says, "I'm going to have to put your name in our computer and see what pops up." Okay. Some computers don't allow pop-ups, but hers does, I guess. I says, "No problem." She puts my name into the computer. Now, I have no idea what popped up. I suspect what popped up is, I told you before, I'm TSA pre-checked, and I have an FBI clearance number. Because she looked at her computer, and she looked up at me, she says, "I'm really sorry to have bothered you. And you can go to the counter." And I was at the counter. And they didn't ask me, another question. This poor girl, they kept her for half an hour. They wanted to know where she went to elementary school, where she went to high school, what she learned in high school, what was her favorite teacher. Finally, it got so bad, I went over, I said, "You know, she's together with me." "Oh, we didn't know, whatever it is." Half an hour. And then they ripped apart her handbag, and they emptied her whole handbag, and they checked it. Me, they didn't touch it all. So from the start already, she looked at me and she's saying, "You know, what the heck is going on over here?" Okay, got it. We get into Israel Tuesday night. So we go out, we get something to eat, we go to the Kotel. You know, I want to go to the Kotel, so I go to the Kotel Maravi. She's staying by her uncle and aunt. I'm staying by friends of mine on the block that I know from America. And Wednesday morning, we're already by the lawyer. We have to go over a lot of information, etc., and type up things. We're now in the Bet Din HaGadol, 12 o'clock. The lawyer, he's there, the husband, with his lawyer, and some of his family members, her lawyer. We're not there yet. And you can hear the screaming. In the Bet Din, there's a lot of screaming always. Everybody's screaming. And the Dayanim are trying to keep people quiet, but everybody's screaming. Then we got a phone call, and I was sitting outside the chief rabbi's office. Rabbi Lau's office. I know the Mashvir Klali, I know the secretary. So, you know, we're schmoozing out there, you know, we're outside the chief rabbi's office. And we get the call to come in. And we come in. The minute she walks in, of course, this guy, almost like he saw a ghost, you know, and the lawyer kept saying, "Who the heck is she?" And the chief judge wants to know who she is, and she's the wife. So now, the whole thing he's saying is, "My wife is there, my wife is there." Now the wife is here. The next question is, "And who's the guy with you?" So the plan was that I was just the translator. You know, she doesn't speak Hebrew well. I was going to translate Hebrew into English for her. Okay. Got it. No problem. So his lawyer starts, and his lawyer first says, "You know, we're going to sue for loss of income. Every day he's here, he's losing a fortune. He's a businessman." He's no businessman. The only business he's in is monkey business, but we won't get there. He has no business. And we don't belong here, because what gives Israel any jurisdiction? Were they married in Israel? No. Did they live in Israel even after? It's not after you're married. A Kola guy lives in Israel for a few years. After they were married, did they live in Israel? No. Do they have a bank account together in Israel? No. Are they Israeli citizens? No. There's nothing other than he came for a visit. You have no right to hold him. Now, the truth is they're right. There is no right. Besides that, he filed for divorce in New York, or actually it was New Jersey, and we have the papers. Okay, but it's in English. So the judge looks to me, because it's in English. So I say as follows. I said to him, number one, if he has such a business, surely he filed tax returns for the last few years, and he can produce it. We can see how much his business made. I know he didn't file taxes for 3 years. I know his license has been canceled because he didn't file taxes. Well, all of a sudden, we hear them whispering with each other. "Oh, I understand, you don't have taxes. But maybe you can show me bank statements which show how much money you put in, how much money," because sometimes you can assess a business by deposits, by activity. Oh, you don't have bank statements, no problem. By the way, the summons and complaint in New Jersey, I happened to look at it. I happen to have gotten a copy, and it was never served. It's very nice to go to court and file papers, but if you don't put it in an envelope and put a stamp on and mail it, what's it worth? Nothing. Then if you read the summons and complaint, it describes the wife as the nicest person in the face of the world. Normally you're supposed to write all the horrible things she does. Only writes the nice things. And on top of that, he wants a bunch of things, but he leaves out the most important thing which is relevant to Israel. In Israel, there's a law called mizonot, that if you're married, you have to take care of your wife. And that, Israel has jurisdiction anywhere in the world. And he left that out. No, he didn't leave it out. What are you talking about? He didn't leave it out. I said, of course he left it out. Can't you read? Oh, it's in English. You can't read. I'll read it to you. So the head of the Beit Din sent everybody out of the room. And as everybody's walking out, he says to me, come back. He says to me, you're not an interpreter, are you? I said, well,
Judge called you, right?
what?
Judge called?
Oh, yeah. Eventually, he knew me, and he knows, and then I have a Beit Din, and no problem. Okay, now I know. Now I know exactly what's going on. Now I go. They bring everybody back in, and one of the Dayanim turns to the guy and says to the guy, what do you want? What do you want? So the guy says, I want to go home. I don't belong here. I want to go home. I love my children. Okay, you love your children. That's wonderful. You love your children. I'll make you a deal, he says. You can go home tonight. On a plane tonight.
You heard that.
And we'll dismiss the whole case. You can judge the whole case wherever you want. Beit Din, court, New York, New Jersey, go to Nevada. I don't care where you want. Just in the next hour, give her a get. Simple. And the guy said, Niyat. No. No. He said no. Lo mitten aleph. Lo.
They used to live in Israel before, right?
Never.
No? Or just for the colors?
Well, did they let him have it but good? And once a man says he's not going to give his wife a get, so now they have him on two counts. Mizonot, and doesn't want to give a get, he ain't going nowhere. Finally, they're screaming at him so much that his lawyer says, let me talk to him outside. Lawyer takes him out, comes back in 5 minutes later, and the lawyer says, you know what, we changed our mind. We want the entire case to be judged here in Israel. We love the Beit Din. You're our favorite. You're our favorite rabbis. We want you to judge the entire case. Turns to us, you know what we say? Great. Now we have samchut. Now we have jurisdiction. This whole argument was there was no jurisdiction. Now we have jurisdiction. Go out and make an agreement. He comes back. He wants 10 different things. We can only agree with about 8 of them, which is more than enough. And whatever we don't agree, we'll agree to go to any Beit Din that they want, that we can mutually agree upon. We're ready to settle. He gives one last thing. He says one last thing. Whatever the Beit Din decides, I want it to be sent to New Jersey, so the judge in New Jersey should agree with it. Now, you tell me, you think the Beit Din is going to send stuff to New Jersey? Mm-hmm. You think the judge in New Jersey cares what the Beit Din says? So I said, if two people are having a conversation, and they agree on everything, but at the very end, the guy says, I just have one more thing to ask. One little thing. The cow should jump over the moon. That's all. Otherwise, I agree with you 100%. What's he really saying to you?
Nothing.
Nothing. That's right.
You don't agree.
That means if I say to you, and I want the cow to jump over the moon, nothing.
Let's play blunt.
Next morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, we're in Supreme Court. Now, you got to understand, I don't know if you've ever been to the Supreme Court of Israel. First of all, the building is on the property, on the land of the Knesset. When you walk out of the Supreme Court, right there's the Knesset. The building is 20 times bigger than the Beit Din building. It's enormous. And there's security, and there's undercover security. And the room is enormous, and the benches are hardwood. And, the symbol of Israel is up there, and you don't say a word. When you're in that room, you're quiet. You open your mouth when it's not your turn. 3 people just carry you right out. And they give tours. There's tours. When I was in there was a Japanese tour. Every time we spoke, you could hear the Japanese people like, it was so funny, what we were saying. And the judges, not the judges, the lawyers wear robes. Like they do in Britain. They don't wear the wigs, the white wigs, but they wear the robes. You can't come dressed in a suit. You have to wear a robe. You have a robe.
Black?
What? Black, yeah. So, we are in the Supreme Court. Now we're trying to settle this, it still doesn't settle. We walk in, and the inner table, only the lawyers can sit, so I'm sitting behind, and the wife is behind, he's on the other side. And the judges are not religious judges. They're chiloni, they're not religious judges. The judge says to his lawyer, stand up. Guy stands up. And the judge rips a side off of him and says, I'm throwing this case out. And if I had my way, I'd throw you out. And I want to charge you 20,000 shekel for wasting the court time. So the guy said, but what did I do? Why? He says, why are you here? You want to appeal the decision of the Bet Din HaGadol. When was your case before the Bet Din HaGadol? It was yesterday. Do you have the decision yet? He says, no. So he says, so how did you know you lost? Because you have Ruach HaKodesh. We don't deal with Ruach HaKodesh here. This is not the place for Ruach HaKodesh. We don't deal with Ruach HaKodesh here. So you're coming to appeal a case that hasn't even been decided yet.
Yeah.
But I understand that you were close to an agreement. What happened? Well, we wanted the agreement to be ratified in New Jersey. Oh. And you think the judges in New Jersey are waiting for me, he says. You think I care what the judges in New Jersey say? You think they care what I say? You agreed to have the case tried in Israel. So all that matters is what Israel says. You want to have it in the United States? You were told. You want to go? Go! But you didn't want to go. So don't tell me now you want to go to New Jersey. I don't care about New Jersey. And New Jersey doesn't care about me. He says, well, it could take some time. He's willing to leave over a get. It's called bimashlish a get. Put a get in escrow. He says, come on. And tomorrow he'll say, that get that I put in escrow? Batel muvutal. And it's gone. We all know that trick. He says, no, they do it all the time. He says, really? I see the counsel general of all the Batei Dinim here. Why was the counsel general and all the Batei Dinim there? Because we wanted him there. And he asked the counsel general, do you do that? You do that shtick when you leave over a get? He says, never. We give a get from the husband directly to the wife. We don't do this stuff anymore. Anyway, he ripped the side off this guy. And he dismissed the case. Now the guy can file again in 3 weeks. But for now, the decision will come out, I don't know, tomorrow is Tuesday, Wednesday, I guess. I don't know when the decision will come out. And Purim is going to be here, and in Israel and Yerushalayim, it's Shushan Purim is Purim. Friday. So nothing's going on, Thursday, Friday, I just said the Menima now, I just realized. Nothing's going on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday anyway. Her lawyer's going to be in America anyway. So Purim is coming and going. I thought for sure he would reach out to us. Pesach is coming and going. I mean, right now, the only question this boy has to ask himself? Is he going to keep 1 day Pesach or 2 days Pesach? That's his only question right now. He ain't going nowhere.
So they took away his password?
He's a guest of the state for now. And we filed mizonot, and we're filing a whole bunch of other things, and then we find out, that a bunch of more things. So, it was a fascinating experience. But they didn't want to lose.
So why he's so stubborn? Why he doesn't give the get?
Control. Part of it is control. Part of it is just foolishness, because he's spending money he doesn't have. He's asking everybody for money that he's not going to get. And eventually he's not going to be able to pay any of his lawyers anyway. He hasn't given his wife a dime in 2 years, not a dime. His house is in foreclosure. No, he doesn't pay. It's just he needs his family to sit him down and say to him, stop this, you're hurting all of us. But his family hasn't done that yet. Eventually, the voice of reason will have to come out.
He remarried already?
No, he has his girlfriends, I understand, but I don't know. I have no evidence of that, so. I have no idea. But it doesn't, it's time for him to go on with his life. This consumes your life. And sometimes when a person has nothing else, they're not busy. They need something to busy. This is what keeps them busy.
Make him happy.
If he had a job, he'd be busy with other things. He wouldn't have time for this foolishness. But that's what it is. Okay. Some quick thoughts on Parshas Vayikra. Some very, very quick thoughts. It brings down over here the Medrash. The Medrash says something as follows. Vayikar. It's supposed to say Vayikra, and there's a small olive Vayikar like by Bilo. So the Medrash says that to the Nevi'im of the non-Jewish world, Hashem only appeared at night. But to the Nevi'im Yisrael, he could appear during the daytime. Why? He says because the Goyish Avel, the non-Jewish world, thinks to become holy, you have to remove yourself from the world. You can't, God forbid, be married, have a wife, have children. You've got to be removed. The Torah says differently. The Torah says you could be a person and be a holy person. And that's what the Kotzker Rebbe used to say. The Kotzker Rebbe used to say, "Va'anshe kodesh tiyuli." You should be holy people. The Torah never says to a Jew, "I want you to be an angel." What does it say? I want you to be a mensch. What does the word mensch mean? A man, a human being, a good person. That's what the Torah wants. There's a story, official Shechter says, that a woman said to another woman, my husband is an angel. He's a malach. He learns all day. He does chesed. Another one says, yeah, my husband's also a malach. He davens all day and everything else. The third wife says, I don't know if my husband's a malach, but I know one thing, he's not a mensch. He's so mean, he's not even a human being. So she says, I don't know if he's a malach, but he's not a mensch. The bottom line is that the Torah wants you to be a human being, but to be a holy person. You don't have to be a malach. You can be a anshe kodesh to you. That's what the Kotzker Rebbe used to say. The whole concept of korbanos is a big machloket. There's a famous machloket between the Rambam and the Ramban. Let me tell you about the Rambam. The Rambam writes in the Moreh Nevuchim. Now you have to understand the Moreh Nevuchim was a philosophical book written to offset Aristotle's philosophies. It was popular, it wasn't popular, people condemned it, it really had a rocky start. The Moreh Nevuchim